Money Talks.
Money Talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Hi, my name is Ibukun Oyedeji, President CFA Society Nigeria. Join me and a host of other financial industry practitioners every Monday at 4:30 p.m. right here on Inspiration 92.3 FM for Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria.
Money Talks, airing on this station every Monday at 4:30 p.m. from January 2023. Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money. Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining us this evening on Money Talks. Money Talks is a program brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. Smart Uzechi is my name. Today, my guest on the program is Sade Odunaiya, CFA, FCA, CPC. Sade is a CEO and founder of Inventivo Professional Services, a business and executive coaching firm incorporated in Nigeria. She loves working with CEOs and business owners and their executive teams to unleash the potentials in their organizations and or careers. She is particularly passionate about those who would want to transform their organization in significant respect as to make them great through the application of appropriate disciplines for organizational development. Her prior experience, spanning over 30 years, was in public accounting, finance, financial advisory, including business valuations, business planning, risk management, talent development, and business strategy formulation. Sade has worked with businesses that require a rebirth or transformation that propel them for growth. She holds a first-class Bachelor of Science BSc degree in Computer Science and Economics from the University of Ife, 1985. She's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, 1989. She holds the CFA Charter 2000 from the CFA Institute, a certified professional coach with the International Coaching Federation 2018, and a certified facilitator by both Action Coach Business Coaching, the #1 business coaching firm in the world, and Adding Zeros Incorporated, USA. Sade currently serves on the boards of a number of commercial and non-for-profit organizations in several sectors: financial services, oil and gas, education, and agriculture. She has been recognized by the CFA Society Nigeria as a platinum member for being outstanding in establishing the society and supporting its advocacy efforts. The CFA Institute in 2022 awarded Sade a Lifetime Achievement Award for her contributions to the ideals of the global body. Sade Odunaiya is the first president of CFA Society in Nigeria, and she's here with me. Sade, good evening and welcome to Money Talks.
Good evening, Captain Smart, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so good to have you. Let me say Happy New Year to you because I'm seeing you for the first time this year.
That's true. Happy New Year to everyone online as well, and Happy New Year, Captain Smart.
And how's your family doing?
We are well. We're looking forward to a year that will be full of pleasures and fruitfulness.
We hope it's like that. And to you out there, the listener, this program is live and is fully interactive, meaning you can join us via the telephone lines or send us messages on WhatsApp. Our number remains 0700 923 923 923. That's 0700 923 923 923. Or you can send us a message on WhatsApp 0817 313 6193. You can just reach us via those channels while we're here in the studio. Towards the end of the program, we'll give you feedback channels that can use to send us messages even when we're not talking money or Money Talks on the radio. So Sade, let's get this started. Today we're going to be looking at personal finance. We're going to be looking at the basics, the why, and for who. Because when we talk about finance, this is what we're going to be covering today. Now, Sade, most people, when they hear of money, they quickly think of what they have now. I mean, that one where I hold. People will say, may I hold something? They think about that one they have, or perhaps business wise. So today, we want to start this discussion of money from the personal angle, as that affects everybody that's listening right now. So let's get to the root of money matters and try to explore a good personal finance principle. Can you help us as a professional and as a charter holder, by the way, to highlight to the average Nigerian listening now, what are the basic principles towards financial wellness or financial planning?
Thank you very much, Captain Smart. Just like we all have to breathe air, right, in order to stay alive, everyone needs to have money to be able to sustain life. Now, because we all need money, then it becomes very important that we look at how we handle money. First of all, you have to earn it to be able to even start talking about what you will do subsequently. So you have to look at where you are right now. If you're talking about the basic principles, you need to look at where you are right now in terms of money, and that's what we call finance as an individual. Then you look at what are the sources from which you can continue to earn money, and for how long you will continue to earn money as well. Then you have to look at what are you going to be doing with the money on the spending side. And the key thing is that you need to be brutally honest to yourself, really. That's one fundamental principle you need to imbibe. And I would advise that you also have your own vision for yourself. For instance, when you get old, what kind of life do you want to live? Because you don't start planning for when you get old when you're old. It's too late. So you need to start well ahead to plan for the future. And of course, the future itself has many gradings, if I'm allowed to use those words. What you need for next month or year 2023 is different from what you need in the next 5 years. It's different from what you need in the next 10 or in the next 20. So you need to decide, first of all, for yourself. And these things are very personal. What do you want for yourself, say, in 5 years' time? And of course, what you want 5 years' time will also depend on your age as well, what your circumstances are in life right now, and what you hope to be able to achieve by the end of that year 5. And when you paint that picture clearly for yourself, then you look at where am I now? You know, it's like someone who has a goal, and you now have to set a path to achieving that goal. So you have to look at where you are right now, and then you plan, how do you actualize the goal? That's it.
Wow. So from what you have said now, there are stages, actually. So at what stage in a person's life would I say, well, this is the stage at which I need money now? You know, at what stage is money required in a person's life? We'll appreciate if you can quickly just itemize those stages.
Truth be told, you need money from the day you were born. It's just that you were not the one earning it.
Wow.
Even as a young baby, you say, oh, the baby will take the mother's breast, but you still have to buy Pampers, you still have to buy clothing. The mother must feed to be able to produce good milk. So we all need money at different stages, but let's just enumerate it from the time when possibly you went to school. When you're a student, you need money as well to get the books and to be able to feed yourself, and to be able to go home to see your parents from time to time. And then when you graduate, you start working. Hopefully, you will have plans to marry. And when you marry, then you're going to have children. Children must go to school, and they will get older. Schools at different levels means different costs. Nursery school, primary school, secondary school, university. And some of them these days, they tend to do masters almost immediately. And the parents tend to fund that whole process. So when they are done and they start working, hopefully, I use that word emphatically because people have told me it never ends. Hopefully they can stand on their own financially at that point in time because they begin to earn. And you, during the process where you were, spending money, taking them to school, or paying for their education, you probably want to have a house of your own as well. You want to build some pool of assets or resources that would produce money for you when you get to a stage where you now have to go into retirement. Because whether we like it or not, unless you want to die young, you're going to get to a stage in life where you will not be able to produce and therefore earn as much money as when you were younger. And yet, even at that time, you still need to spend money. Usually medical bills go up. I can tell you that because I have an aged mother. So you still have to be able to have some access to money to take care of your old age, and God knows how long you will be there. And that's why people talk about principles of pension. Now, all of those stages, the different stages, your demand and need to spend will change as your expense lines are changing. But even on the income side as well, hopefully you're doing well in your career, so your income will also be growing. You need to manage that as well in order for you to be able to meet all the requirements that you would have as you age in life. So those are the different stages, and what you need to do at each stage will differ depending on your circumstances. So again, you must always continually do a review of where you are and where you want to get to and what you need to do. And usually, if you can't do it on your own, it's also good to speak to an expert. But it's something that if you want to be secure financially, it's not how much you have, it's how well you have planned and how you have executed the plan that you have made.
That's right. In case you're just tuning in, this is Money Talks. And Money Talks is brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria here on Inspiration 92.3 FM. Today we have Sade Odunaiya, CFA, FCA, CPC, and we're talking about personal finance, financial planning for the individual. In case you have a question or you want to make a contribution, you can call us on the telephone 0700 923 923 923. I mean, this is Money Talks, and it's everything about money that we're talking about here. So consultations with Sade while she's here is free of charge for this half hour. 0700 923 923 923. When she exits the studio, I'm sure you have to pay lots of money to consult her financially. So take the wise decision. Do it now while she's here. So, Shirley, let's get back to you. From what you have enumerated, in local parlance, we say it's plenty. It's plenty. Correct. It's plenty. So the question is, with scarce resources, how do I ensure I'm able to meet all my needs at every stage?
I like the way you put it, scarce resources, because I've never met the person that says that he has enough money. It's never enough. But in spite of it not being enough, what is important is that you keep, for instance, your expenses within your income. And when I talk about income, there are different income sources. If you're working, you have salary. If you have a business, the business should actually pay you a salary. That's one key lesson that business owners also have to learn, to separate their personal finances from that of their business. And then when you know your income sources, maybe you get income from your investments, maybe you make income from gifts and people give you things from time to time. You can only plan with the one that is regular. So that when you then get the one-off type gifts, it becomes like icing on your cake. It's like a booty. Now, within what you earn that is regular or is highly predictable that you can plan with, you must then look at your expenses. What exactly do you need? You see, we have different kinds of expenses. We have needs.
Okay, Shade, just hold your thought there. We have a call on the line. Hello, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for calling. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Michael. I'm on the road.
Okay, Michael, very quickly, let's have your contribution.
Yeah, concerning finance, I want to ask something. Now, people usually say that as a salary earner, your 2 months salary should be able to pay your house rent. And then looking at somebody who is living in Lagos, and then you're looking at proximity from your house, your place of work, how close it should be. So how realistic is that your 2 months salary should be able to pay your house rent? Is it possible for someone living in Lagos? You know how expensive house rents are in Lagos.
All right. Thank you, Michael. You keep listening. I'm sure the answer will come.
There's no rule that says that your 2 months' salary should be able to pay your house rent.
There's no rule like that.
There's no rule like that. Because again, remember what I said, that whatever you want for yourself is what you go for. Right? I should not want to be like Captain Smart. I need to spend within what I earn. And unfortunately, in the Nigerian space, for instance, where rent is not paid monthly, it makes it, because you have to look for 1 year's rent in most instances. And that means that you either have to borrow or you have to save over time to be able to pay your rent. Now, that savings that you're going to do over time, right, is what you would have to be intentional about it, by making sure that no matter how much income you earn, you cannot afford to spend everything, right? So that you can have some surplus that you can then use to save towards rent, maybe even use to save towards, maybe you want to advance in education, or you want to buy a car. So you have to list all of those things you want, right? And then look at your situation, like I mentioned earlier, and the income you can have. And then ask yourself the question, how do I achieve this goal? Now, one thing can occur to you that, well, it looks like my current salary won't cut the ice. Then it means that maybe I want to have a side hustle, right? And the beauty of it now is that it's possible to do a side hustle. Since everybody is now online, you can be working for someone who is in the US if you have the skill, and you're able to get on some website and so on. But the important thing is that do not spend what you have not earned.
Okay, so that will take me to the next question, actually. Somebody once said that once you earn money, what you should do is save some, spend some, and then they said sow some. You just sow some. So people who are earning income is never enough. Like the man who asked it, no matter how much people are paid, income is never enough. So what proportion of one's income should they actually spend, and then by extension save?
Again, there's a guideline, but I would say that each person's circumstances should dictate what they do. But the general guideline is that you should spend not more than 50% of what you have earned in income to meet your needs. The needs are, you just have to have them. You need a house, you need transportation, you need to feed yourself, and you need clothing, right? And then they said, well, about 30% can be spent on what is want. When you give yourself a treat, I want to go to the cinema. You're a human being. You should also plan.
You should flex.
You should be able to go out with your friends once in a while, you know, to sit down, take a drink or take some ice cream or something like that. So guideline says maybe about 30% can go to that. And then 20% you must save. That 20% is what some people would say you pay yourself for having earned the income. And what that 20% is doing can be varied, because depending on your circumstances as well, it could be that seed you're talking about that you're going to now put away because I want to go on a holiday, maybe in 1 year's time. So I'm saving towards my holiday. A portion of it can be saving towards retirement. A portion of it can be saving towards, I'd like to buy a car in 3 years' time. So there are different buckets that you may want to put it into. And that is what this Money Talk is going to be all about, because people will come in and tell you the different kind of outlets, right, that you can put money into, that the money will be working for you while you are waiting for time to elapse. So that it's not like you put 20 naira in the soil and at the end of 1 year it's just 240. It should be more than 240, depending on what you have put it into and the kind of risk you have taken.
We really appreciate that, because many times people even have some money, bulk money in the bank, and at the end of the month, the credit interest that comes is even annoying. When you see your money there and you see the money coming, and you just shouldn't I just use this money to do something? We really appreciate that education. We'll take a short break now. When we come back, Sade is still here. We're talking about personal finance, financial planning for the individual. It's by CFA Society Nigeria, and this is Money Talks. We'll be right back.
We are professionals. We are impact driven. We are CFA Society Nigeria, a member society of the CFA Institute Global Network of Societies. Our mission is to promote the highest standard of practice in the Nigerian financial services industry and provide a vibrant community for our members. The CFA Charter signals the holders' commitment to professional excellence. As thought leaders, we collaborate with stakeholders to ensure adherence to ethical standards, better education for professionals, and to build market integrity. We are the leading voice for advocacy in the finance and investment industry in Nigeria. To partner with us or become our member, visit us at cfasocietynг.org for more details. CFA Society Nigeria, making finance a force for good.
Money Talks.
Money Talk.
Money Talks. Money Talks.
Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money. Welcome back to Money Talks here on 92.3 Inspiration FM. It's brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. I'm talking today with Sade Odunaiya. She's the first president of CFA Society here in Nigeria, and she's a lifetime award winner actually of the CFA. And today we're talking personal finance, financial planning for the individual. You can call us on the telephone 0700-923-923-923 in case you want to ask a question or make a contribution as to all what we've been talking about here, and I'm sure you're going to get a professional answer to that. You can also send us a message on WhatsApp 0817-313-6193. So Sade, I'm going to ask you this particular question. I mean, and I'll be listening carefully for your answer. I'm sure people also will be doing that. Income is never enough. We said that a number of times on this program. It's never enough to cover one's expenses. That man said, how do you deal with house rent? That's just one of the many problems Lagosians have to deal with. There's transportation, there's feeding, and there's some persons who have large families. So where my income is not sufficient to cover all of these, my many expenses, what should I be doing?
I thought that I alluded to that earlier on, but I'll repeat myself. You have to cut your expenses to bring it within your income. Remember what I also said, that when you look at expenses that we all carry, it's not all expenses that are an absolute necessity. Now, you don't have to take cornflakes in the morning. Your children will still live if they can get pap.
Wow.
Do you understand? So is that kind of adjustment is either you work extra to make more income so you can sustain the level of expense you believe is good enough or fit for your status. But more importantly, if you cannot earn more income, like I mentioned, it would be irresponsible really for you to run expenses that are higher than your income, because that means that you are either going to be borrowing and your borrowing will never get paid because it will keep growing, or you are going to be a burden on somebody else, always begging for money. And that's not dignifying for an individual. So the first thing everybody must do is actually analyze the expenses and ask the question, what do we really need? And really be, like I said, brutally honest with yourself. What you really need is what you should cater for at first. The wants are desirable, but you will still survive if you don't have it. And the important thing to also remember is that it's just for a season, for you to build the muscle. Like it's like you're doing sports and you have to strengthen the muscle. It's for you to strengthen the muscle so that the muscle can produce more for you later on. Eventually, what you deprived yourself of, you most likely will be able to enjoy it if you are disciplined. Because also when we talk money matters and we talk about financial planning, discipline is important. It's one thing for me to say, okay, this is how much I'm going to spend. I'm going to make sure my spending does not exceed this proportion of my income. And then month one comes, I did it well. Month two, let me just give myself a cheat now. I'll make it up next month. You know how it is.
Yeah.
And on it goes, and eventually it gets to the point where you're actually not saving anymore. And somebody else will come and talk about the power of compound interest, because there's no time to explain it today. If you sow the seed like the farmer in the soil, one seed will bring you so many fruits if it is nurtured and well looked after, right? And that is the same thing money does. If you put it into the right soil, if you put it in the right place, and you're disciplined enough to nurture it, to look after it, to tend it, eventually, right, you should be living off your income from the assets you have built.
Because of time, and because you've actually seemingly covered all of what we have on the table here, the last question I'm going to ask you is, what of people who depend on daily income? Like the artisans you see, they go to work today, they pay them, it's daily pay. How do they save money? Like, they just depend on what they get daily to survive. So where's the savings going to come from?
It's the same principle, Captain Smart. Sincerely speaking, they get their daily pay. They're not supposed to spend everything feeding that day. They need to put something aside, because one day they're going to have parent, even if it's at the end of the month. One day they are going to have to look after their family. You get what I'm talking about? One day they're going to want to buy a piece of land somewhere, even if it's in their village, where the land is practically next to nothing. They want to put a little house together so that when they're old, they can at least return to the village and live a peaceful life. So it's just that discipline. Whatever comes into your hand, you must sow a seed. A farmer doesn't sell every one of his harvest.
Crops,
he has to keep some for him to plant for the next season. It's the same principle.
Wow.
Unfortunately.
No matter how small, you need to find it in your heart to set aside just a portion.
Yes.
So you can go back to the farm to plant for the next season.
Correct.
Okay, Sade, just in one sentence, just talk to the listener there about financial planning and implementation. You can say it in local parlance, the way it will make sense, as in something the person will never forget about this whole thing we've been talking about for the past half an hour.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd just like to say that we're all unique individuals. We all have different dreams for ourselves. And if we want to actualize the dreams of, in terms of the type of life we want to live, we have to start working on birthing that dream today. Now, today, we will begin small to do what will take us, right, to that big dream that we have for ourselves. And money is one critical area that actually makes life a lot easier. You can imagine if you're sick and they say, come and pay in the hospital and you don't have any money. The sickness go worsen now, because you don't even know where to turn. So that's why it's important to manage the money well. And you have to plan based on where you are, right? What you want to be able to achieve and what income you are going to be able to generate. And write it down. Share with somebody who asks you, say you don't save that money where you agree, say you go save, so that you can have an accountability partner that will ensure that you continue to walk that path. Small, little by little now. You go get there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sade Odunaiya, CFA, FCA, CPC, a lifetime awardee of the CFA Society Nigeria, has been my guest today on Money Talks. We've been discussing personal finance, financial planning for the individual. Sade, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Captain Smart.
We're back next Monday at 4:30 p.m. with a fresh packet. Do join us at that time.
.3, your number one family radio.
Always know this: you don't choose your family. They are God's gift to you, as you are to them. Desmond